Good morning. This is Robert Goodman here on Positive Stroke, Staying Clean. I am so happy that you're here, that you're a part of my recovery, that you have time to be here. And today we're going to talk about letting go. You know, in my act of addiction, I believe my way was the best way. No matter how far down the road my addiction has taken me, I felt my way was the best way. I felt that everybody was depriving me of a good life, a life that I wanted. But basically, what was happening was that I was not conforming or understanding who Robert was and what he wanted to do with his life and to be truly happy. Letting go. I had to let go of what I held dear. And for 40 years, I held on to pain, misery, rejection, loneliness, and feeling worthless. For 40 years, addiction took me down roads that mentally and emotionally stripped me from anything positive being in my heart and in my mind. So, as I'm in this transition of recovery, and I'm looking at all the things that Robert did to himself and others, I was not feeling good about myself. How can this transform me into having a good life? Well, for the first time, Robert looked at what he did to himself and others in a sober mind. When he literally looked at his actions, I realized I did some very bad things. So, me realizing exactly the things that I did and understand how bad they was stripped me of justifying my actions. Because Robert was looking at it in a high mind, medicated mind. But not in the right mind. So after I suffered for 40 years, because it took me 40 years to realize that I can't do this no more. That lets you know that I was stubborn. I was bullheaded. I wouldn't even give you a chance to express your wisdom and understanding to me because all I could see is what I wanted to do and believing that it was the best course of action for myself. Letting go. So recovery taught me to let go of the bad thinking and choices I was making for myself. Recovery taught me that the decisions that I was making in my active addiction was focused on getting more, using, getting high. My addiction told me that if I get high, that will make the problem not bother me anymore. Recovery told me the truth, but addiction constantly lied to me. Lied to me to make me continue to use and feel good on the inside by putting that drug into my body. Letting go. So after I moved forward in my recovery, I worked the steps of looking back at myself and my actions and the things that I did. I didn't like myself. A matter of fact, I hated myself. A matter of fact, I felt maybe it's best that I take my life because you're so worthless. You destroyed people's lives. You destroyed your life. You wasn't even there when your mother died and she wanted you to be there. You wasn't even man enough to go look for your son, regardless of what the mother did. Yeah, the scum of the earth, Robert. You don't deserve to be happy. You don't deserve to have anything that this life has to offer for the damage you've done to others. That's what recovery taught me after looking at myself. And then a person that knew my situation, that I shared my strength, my hopes, my pain, my addiction with. And he said, Robert, we're all faulty. We all are not deserving for a second chance. But a power greater than ourselves is giving us a second chance. I took it and my life got better. I want you to take it so your life can get better. You have nothing to lose. He said, Robert, give me 1 good year, 100% of recovery, working towards the betterment of you. 1 year. And if you do not like where you're at after that year, then you can go back and do what you used to do. He said, you'll be able to have some money by that time. You'll have some things that you can sell, and you can probably be high for a pretty good long period of time on just what you have. He says, but try it 1 year, 1 whole year, without hesitation, without judging, but do what's necessary. I said, yeah, okay, we can do that. in a year, I went from homelessness to a work program to working at a temp place to getting a full-time job with overtime, hired within 2 weeks after working there as a temp. Graduated in the program of recovery. Minimum, minimal, they didn't have to watch me as much, put it that way. My probation officer would just check in every 3 months because I was doing such a good job in my rehabilitation as far as the eyes can see. Eventually, I ended up getting a car. I ended up meeting my wife. I ended up moving to Mesa, Arizona. This is all in a year plus. There's no way that I was going back to the old person I used to be in my active addiction. So what happened was I let my thinking, my behavior, my actions, I let it go and did the next right thing without hesitation, without questioning. Even when I questioned it in my mind, I just did the next right thing. And by me taking the cotton out of my mouth and putting it in taking the cotton out of my ears and putting it in my mouth, I was able to listen and learn what I needed to learn to move forward in my recovery. The most important thing was letting go of the past, letting go of the mistakes I made, forgiving myself for what I did to myself and others, and asking others to forgive me for the actions that I did. Some people, they say, oh, I was in doping, you'll continue to be a doping, you'll never change. All I gotta do is wag a bag of dope in front of your face and you'll bark like a dog. Some people say that being an addict, you're just weak. If that's the case, then why some people use for recreation and never get addicted? And there's some people that use and get addicted. Why is the chemistry in a person's brain that's addicted different than a person's chemistry in their brain that's not addicted? Explain that to me. So when I realized and it penetrated this thick skull of mine that I am addicted, I'm an addict, that I have a disease. Robert has a disease. When I realized and understood that, then there was hope for change. There was hope to get better. There was hope to take the proper medicine that I needed to take to stay clean and sober. But the interesting thing that I learned is that just because I'm clean and sober, that life doesn't just happen. The same shit that happens to people that are not sober happens to people that are sober. Same issues may hit you the same way as a normal person. You are not exempt from life on life's terms just because you're an addict. You must have to learn how to live life on life's terms, regardless of what comes down the pipe. Recovery says no matter what happens to you, you don't pick up and use. Because you know if you pick up and use, life as you know it is over. And the road that you'll travel, you don't might not know where you're going to end up, when you're going to end up, and the way that you're going to end up. And there's only 3 places that you can end up: jails, institutions, or death. Or the 4th, living in a living hell of addiction for years. That's living hell. So I learned that I had to let things go. And the most important thing that made me be able to move forward in my recovery was I have no control over people, places, or things. I don't have no control over a family member, a friend, or a stranger. I cannot make a person do what I want them to do. A person accepts to do what they want to do. They make a decision to do what they want to do. But I don't have that kind of power to control a person. But I can control Robert by the choices he makes and the actions he does. And by me understanding that I made so many mistakes in my life through my addiction and living life on life's terms, it lets me know that I am a fallible person. I do make mistakes. So I need to what? Watch Robert. Because Robert has the power and the means and the way to destroy Robert. Me, I can destroy myself. I kept myself into active addiction for 40 years. I was so stubborn that I kept doing the same thing, expecting different results. So I need to watch me. It doesn't matter what everybody else does. I need to watch me. Because if I watch me and protect me from myself and others, my life gets better. My life. And that's what I want. For my life to get better. Here's the thing that recovery taught me. My recovery is my recovery. Your recovery is your recovery. Where you're at in your recovery is because of the work that you did in your recovery. The work that I did in my recovery has me where I am today. So I can't sit up and judge another person's recovery by my recovery, because their recovery is their recovery, and it's the work that they put into their recovery. That's where they're at today. Whether it's more or less, because they made the choice to do it the way that they see fit for themselves. And I know when I pay attention to myself, It may feel good and look good, but sometimes I have to divert that from that feeling because it's not the right way for me to go. Because I am a faulty person, so I have to check myself. I have to show wisdom and understanding on my decision making because I'm a faulty person. So, with that in mind, that means everybody's faulty because we're all human beings. And the most powerful thing is if people were not faulty, then people wouldn't be breaking laws. People wouldn't be hurting people. If we were perfect people, we will all be living in a unison world, not a chaotic one. Not the desire for people to have power, not for the desire to people to have money and power, for people to want to control people. People will be just living their best life, enjoying the fruits of their labor because they're perfect, they're not making mistakes. But we're all imperfect people. That's why we have so many issues that we face today. The addiction of money and power is destroying a lot of people and causing people and governments to act a certain way. And those that are just hardworking people are just pawns in their play for power and control. That they use us as their pawns. Reality. So everybody in this world is an imperfect person. That's how we know that nobody may have the right solution unless you better check out and do your research to make sure that it'll work for you. Let go of thinking you have the answer to everything. Let go of thinking that you have more wisdom and understanding than the next person. Let go of all that and understand that we're all imperfect. We all make mistakes. We all see things a certain way, and that's how we react in a certain way, by feelings and emotions. So let us do the research on ourselves so we can understand ourselves, so we can make better decisions for ourselves to live a good life. This is Robert Goodman. I hope I shared some things with you about recovery and living life on life's terms that will be an asset to your recovery. You have a great and wonderful Saturday, and I'll see you Monday. Sunday is my day off. Y'all know that now. Sunday is my day off. And I'm going to have the pleasure of spending some time with my beautiful wife for the weekend, and we're probably going to do a few things for ourselves, enjoying life on life's terms. Remember, recovery will give you the same blessings that I receive on a daily basis. All you have to do is work for them. You have a great and wonderful day.